a little nervous to be up here. I've never been to one of your workshops before. My question for you is, I feel like I have like a pretty good life, and like I've heard you saying some of your things like compared to other humans. Like I feel like I'm doing pretty well, but then there's like
but it doesn't matter compared to other humans. It only matters compared to your own vortex.
Exactly.
When you've got stuff that you're not letting in, that doesn't feel so good.
Exactly.
And
what I want is I want to like create like income where I don't have to like go to a job every day, and I can just like have the freedom to live an abundant life and just do what I want. And I feel like it's possible, but I feel like I have resistance to it.
It is possible, and you do have resistance, and the resistance is evident even in the way that you express this to us, because what I don't want to do is by far the dominant part of your vibration. I don't want to go to a job every day. So let's poke around at that a little bit and see if we can stir some solutions up while we're poking at the problem. So I don't want to go to a job every day. Why? Why don't you want to interact with other humans in your mutual quest for enlivenment and upliftment? Why does that not sound like a good idea to you? Now, when we put it that way,
yeah.
But why don't you want to go to a job every day?
Well, maybe it's because I'm relating it to the job I have now. And
maybe, but what is it that you don't like about being there?
I don't like the pressure.
All right, so I don't like the pressure because I don't like the time and the time shortageness that they perceive that then they sort of put over me.
That's exactly how I feel.
So I don't like not enough time. Now, as you are focused upon that not enough time aspect of what you don't like about your job, as you focus specifically on the not enough time problem, you're focusing upon the shortage of time consciousness. You're producing in the same moment that you're acknowledging that they've got it and that they are pounced on you with it. You are creating a solution for that. And what's the solution? What's the flip side of that? If there's a shortage consciousness about time, what's the solution that is being created at the same time that you're not allowing yourself to see? They're so good at their belief in time shortage consciousness that they've sucked me into it too. So being here with them is sucking me away from my inner being, who knows that there's no such thing. But they're so good in it and they believe it so much. And so as I'm exposed to this, I'm part of the solution, because they believe something that none of our inner beings believe. And maybe I could be a bridge to shift that. Maybe. So what is the other side of that pressure? What's on the other side of pressure? Say it again.
Freedom.
You're jumping too far because you've come to a flawed premise, or a flawed conclusion from a flawed premise. Your premise is that since there's pressure here, that the only way for there not to be pressure is for me to not be here, for me to be free of this craziness. But oh no, there's something so much more to understand. In this pressure cooker called not an understanding of how the universe works, and therefore shortage consciousness, there is a creation of the solution at the same time, which I have access to. In other words, I can release the pressure without quitting my job. And if it's true that the pressure is what's bothering me, then without it, won't I be happy here? Something to consider.
Yeah.
So what else? What else about this place do you not like?
Well, I work in like a family business, so I deal with my dad every day. And I love him, but he also drives me nuts.
So be more succinct about it, because everybody went off on that wild goose chase. So I work in a business where I'm not really allowed to be new today, because they all know so much about me. And every mistake I've ever made is active in their vibration. And they have an expectation of me continuing to produce those mistakes. And it's really rather hard for me not to give them what they expect.
Yes.
You said yes easily. That was really a brilliant thing that we just did there. In other words, we really want you to feel it, because a lot of people are living all that. The problem is, it's hard for me to break loose of who I have been, or more important, who they think I am. So what's on the flip side of that? So that's the problem. What's the solution?
For me to leave the situation?
You are a lazy creator. Now, we're mostly kidding, but not really. Because that's right where everybody wants to go. I don't like this and I don't like this, so I should leave. And we'll say, you'll just take yourself with you. You've got to find the solutions within yourself before you go someplace else. Because if you leave there with the active problem, you're going to join another family business and you're going to be just like their son. Everything about you, you remind me of my son. You're exactly like my son.
So I need to protect my vibration enough that I can be around whoever, around my family and anybody really.
But you're really getting ahead of yourself here. Let's sort this out. Follow this. When a problem is activated, just the existence of a problem means there is an existence of a solution. And an activation of a problem means there's an activation of a solution. And an awareness of a problem means there can be an awareness of a solution. Now stay with us here for a little bit. So rather than doing what we've been accusing you all of doing, of jumping to the manifestation, I just need to quit this job and go find a good one. You just can't get there from there. So the problem is showing you a solution. We've already found 2 new things that you're wanting to look for. The first is?
I'm not sure.
Well, if there's time shortageness.
Oh, time shortage.
Then you're wanting more sense of freedom. Esther was watching her granddaughter studying the other night. And what she was studying was not interesting to her granddaughter, but it was interesting to Esther. And Esther didn't get involved. She was just aware of what it was. And Esther thought, how delicious it must be for time to be set aside in one's life to learn something interesting about that. Now, of course, Esther could set that time aside anytime she wants on any subject, but there was something nice about it all being carved out. There's this time in class, and there's this time at home, and there are these books, and there's this group consensus that you should think about this now. And there was something so luxurious about that in Esther's mind, because Esther is thinking about all the things that she needs to do, so she doesn't set time aside to think about that, but she could. So what we're getting at here is that you are as bound up in not enough time or as relaxed in having enough time as you allow yourself to be. Now, we're going to jump all the way to the answer, to the end of this discussion that we're giving to you, because for sake of time for one thing, and because we think you're ready to hear it for another. So just let these words wash over you for just a moment here. Everything is relative. Relativity. Big topic. Imagine yourself in an airplane high in the sky, 30 or 40,000 feet up there, and 500 or 600 miles an hour. You look out the window and it all looks pretty peaceful. But if you put that same airplane on the ground at that speed, it would not feel or be peaceful. So the absence of resistance is allowing that smooth ride. You see what we're getting at?
Yeah.
So now you're at work and you're feeling pressure, time pressure, all kinds of pressures, but let's just focus on the not enough time to do this feeling that you have. And then just lay over this moment, if you can, the idea of relativity and how it just feels this way to you right now because you're on the ground with your dad and the other people there that have been grounded like that for a while, where you have the ability to connect with your inner being who's looking at things as an overview and who knows where all of this is going and knows all of the solutions and knows that in this receptive mode is also the replenishing mode, and in this receptive mode is also clarity rather than confusion, and in this receptive mode is also good timing rather than bad timing, and that in this receptive mode is freedom from all that binding stuff and presence of all the stuff that you want. So just come with us for a minute if you can in your mind and accept for just a moment that you can feel pressure, which means you're not connected to who you are, or you could be in alignment and really be enjoying this wonderful unfolding of ideas flowing and your body syncing up with it and you being clever and you accomplishing and being in the right place at the right time. In other words, it doesn't have to be that way. You're letting it be that way because you've decided not to do any of the work, not to do any of the looking for the solution, not to do any of the aligning with the solution. You've decided just to bail out and find freedom by going someplace else. Did you follow all of that? When what you are living is this life-giving moment where you're having the opportunity to feel something that doesn't feel good because it isn't, which is giving birth to something that feels a whole lot better. And you have a choice if you will take the time to make it.
Yes, I'm agreeing with everything you're saying.
So now let's go to the other topic of them knowing too much about you and you knowing too much about them and all of your expectations sort of being in that place of friction and not really getting along as much as you want to. So we don't have to go into any detail about that. Let's go right to the solution in that. Let's say that you have heard what we've said and you want to align with the solutions. Not just this one, but there are so many in every day. And you want to be more solution-oriented, but you adore the problems because the problems produce the solutions. So you're no longer at war with things you don't want. You're seeing them as opportunities for expansion and growth, which is what you live for. It's what you thrive on. It's what you came for. It's why you're here. This is really what you want, what you want, what you want, what you want, what you want. So here you are in this situation where you're feeling some of that, and you decide that you're going to start this next day off on a little bit better vibrational footing. So you get up a half an hour earlier and you set yourself in a place and you meditate and you manage to quiet your mind, and it feels good, and you know you accomplished something. You don't really know what, but it felt pretty good, and no thoughts really came to you that are any significance, but you're pleased because you kept your word to yourself and you meditated. And then after you meditated, you decided that you are tuned in, because you are. And so you're just going to write a short list of the people in your family that you are going to rendezvous with at work today. How many of them are there?
3.
So you write those 3 names down, and now you're tuned in. You're seeing through the eyes of Source. You decide that you're going to write a short list of positive aspects of each one of them. Not taking a trait that is bad and trying to make it good, because you've already done that flip. Don't go back to that. You're already over here in the solution, and you're already over here with your inner being who always sees the best. So this project is going to be really easy for you. You're going to see them as they really are. You're going to see the whole of them. You're going to see them through the eyes of Source. So you're going to write things about them. Just a short list about each one of them. And then off you go to work, where you will have a different day than you've ever had before. Where freaky, magical, we're not kidding you, they're not magical, they are freaky, things will begin happening. They'll say things that you thought you'll never hear. They'll zig while you zag. The day will make you a believer in the power of alignment and the power of focusing through the eyes of Source on someone that you're going to be with. Your day will be different. Your relationship will be different. And you will have bubbling within you the most exciting new project that you've ever had in your life experience. The transforming of your relationship with these people who mean the most to you, first of all. And a complete reorientation in this way that you make your livelihood for a while. We're not for a moment trying to lock you into a family business that you'll be with forever and ever. We just know for sure that you cannot leave from the problem or the question part of it. You've got to let yourself find resonance with the rest of it. And then you'll breathe life into them. You'll breathe life into the business. You'll breathe life into yourself. Everything will transform. We're not kidding you, especially when their desire is as strong as yours is. So now, your premise, come back to your original premise and feel how flawed it was. This is what was going on within you. Abraham, I'd like to have a conversation with you about how I can get rid of this job. Abraham, I want to have a conversation with you about how I can get out of this situation that doesn't feel good to me so that I can find the freedom of something that feels better. And now, that isn't what the conversation is about at all, is it? Now it's a conversation of, Abraham, I understand that where I am is where I am, and that there is a relationship between me and all that I want. And I know that this place that I've been has created so much that I want that I can't even really see. But now I can feel myself moving in the direction of what I do want, moving in the direction of the solution of feeling better. And I don't really care, Abraham, how it plays out. Right now you don't, do you?
No.
Do you really care if you stay or go? Really?
No, I just want to be happy.
You just want to feel
free.
better.
Yeah.
You just want to feel better, you see.